Hello, welcome back to Earl Grey Books. I'm Ellie, and it's Eurovisionathon season. So excited, so excited. As I said in my sort of return video, this was one of the reasons I wanted to come back to videos because I love Eurovisionathon. It's my favorite readathon. It's my favorite time of the year. I'm so excited. And we're going to jump in, and today I'm going to show you my TBR. I have a long list. I have pretty much picked books for almost every country, and I've kind of separated them into some different sections, and we will discuss that as we go into it. First up, some information about the Readathon if you haven't heard of this before. So this year is running from the 13th of April to the 11th of May. And the point is to read books from the different countries who are participating in Eurovision this year. And you earn points depending on how far different countries go in the competition and all the good stuff like that. It's of course hosted by Helen from Helen's Book Haven, who I say every time is the sweetest person I know. She is so lovely. She has been such a good friend to me in the last few months, and for as long as I've known her. She's just a really, really gorgeous person inside and out, and I absolutely adore her. And of course, I love participating in this, not just because it's fun and I love reading the different countries, but so that I can support Helen as well. This one is kind of a long video, so I recommend grabbing some tea or coffee or whatever and maybe a snack, and we're going to get into it. So we're going to break this down into, I've picked 20 countries where I have the book either physically or via ebook from a library, or I borrowed from a library or I will borrow from a library. And yes, so those are my main focus for the readathon. I can tell you right now, I'm not going to read 20 books in the span of the month, but I wanted to have options so I can pull from them depending on what I feel like. And then I did also get options for, again, almost every country. These ones I couldn't find, or I could find on Kindle, but I'd have to buy them. And thus I decided to use the free, easily accessible ones. And these will be my backup if something goes terribly wrong, or if I find them somewhere cheap, something like that. And if not, they will go on the TBR for next year. So we're going to break it down. We're going to start with those 20. We'll go into the ones that I have books for, but likely will not read. And that's it. Oh, I forgot to talk about my shirt. This is my contribution to the Eurovisionathon canon with my shirts this year. I don't think I've worn this one in one of my TBRs. This is hygge, which is a Danish word. I'm sure most of you are aware of it because it was kind of one of those buzzwords a few years ago. I bought this in Copenhagen. It's really nice, it's cozy, and it's a bit of a cold morning, so I thought I would rep Denmark and stay warm. Onto the books though. First up, we have Armenia. I'm just going to go through these alphabetically. This one is Sorry Bro by Talene Vushkuni. This is a contemporary romance, sapphic, and I thought it would be nice to have something to kind of break up. As per usual, a lot of these reads are kind of serious and heavy because that's my vibe, I guess. And I thought this would be nice to kind of break up some of that. This is by an Armenian American author, and also the main character is Armenian American. So Should be fun. I'm hoping I enjoy it. Next up is, of course, Australia. And as per usual, I'm not picking a specific book. I have so many books by Australian authors, and like I could literally just walk to a local bookstore and find one. So I will just read whatever, but I have kind of flagged two that I would possibly like to read, and we'll see if I'm in the mood for either of them. I have The Gaps by Leanne Hall and Some Shall Break by Ellie Marnie, which have both been on my TBR before. They are both kind of like, this one's about a teenage girl who goes missing and the effects that it has on her high school class at an all-girls school in Sydney, I think. And this is set in the US in the 1980s, and it is following two characters who join the FBI as teenagers to work kind of like an internship sort of thing, and they hunt teenage serial killers. I love this series. I'm super excited for this one. So one of those two will likely be the read, or something else on my shelves if I'm not in the mood for serial killers or friendship, I guess. Next up we have Croatia, which I have this one for. This is from my uni library, and that's why it kind of looks a bit old and strange. But this is How We Survived Communism and Even Laughed by Slovenkia Draculic. I'm not sure. I randomly found this author on Goodreads. She has quite a couple of books that mark off different countries. I'm going to talk about another one later. But this is the one that I could get my hands on the easiest. So this one will be my book for Croatia. Next up is Denmark. For this I have the Copenhagen Trilogy by Tove Ditlevsen. My pronunciation of all these names are going to be terrible, so apologies for that. So I have this one on hold at the library. It already came in and I had to suspend it for another few weeks until I'm ready for it. But I put this one on my TBR last year, didn't get to it, hoping this time is the go. Okay, France. This one is The Seine by Elaine Sileno, I'm not sure. This is about the river in Paris. Non-fiction. Thought it might be an interesting read. I found this one just before Junior Eurovisionathon, but my hold didn't come in at the library in time, so I have kept it on hold and just kept suspending it until, well, a few weeks when we're ready to go. Next is Germany. I'm very excited about this one. I was at a secondhand book sale a few weeks ago, and I found a copy of Cassandra by Christa Wolf. This is about Cassandra, the prophetess, and who was cursed by Apollo to tell the truth but to never be believed. Very excited for this. Think it's going to be a fun read. Christa Wolf was born in 1929 and lived in East Berlin, according to the back. So very much excited for this one. So glad that I found it. I'd had this one on my radar for years, so I was very glad to find it secondhand. Next is Greece. Going down the most simple route with Greece, we're going for a mythology retelling, and for this one I have picked Stoneblind by Natalie Haynes, which, as you can guess, is a book about Medusa. I am excited but also hesitant. I did not really enjoy, is it 1,000 Ships? I didn't really enjoy Natalie Haynes's last fiction book, or maybe even the fiction book before that. Anyway, I didn't enjoy that one, but I loved her non-fiction, which was Pandora's Jar. That one was fantastic. So we will see how I feel about this one, and I'm excited. I do love Medusa, so we'll see. Next, Iceland. I'm excited for this one because I have never marked Iceland off before. I have a few countries like that. I think I have 15 that I've never marked off, and I'm trying to target a few of those this year. So this is the only book I purchased for the Readathon specifically, and this is Swanfolk by Kirsten Ómarsdóttir. I don't know. This is set in the not so distant future. It follows a female spy who one day sees like a pair of like half swan, half man things coming out of the river, I think it is. And I don't know, shit hits the fan, probably. So it says, bit weird, it says on the front, magical and disturbing. This isn't super my thing, but I want to give it a go. I think it could be really interesting. I don't know, I feel like somewhere like Iceland could like pull off this kind of story, you know? Like if you had this story set in the UK, it would be kind of like, I don't know, less interesting, I guess, to me. But in Iceland, I'm like, they could really make this really, really disturbing. So we'll see how we go. What is next? Ireland. Lovely Ireland. So I have Three Little Girls by Elizabeth Bowen. I read Bowen last year when I was doing an Irish literature course, and we read some of her short stories. And when it came to Ireland, I was like, well, I'll just look back over all my old readings from that class and I'll see if there are any that like stick out. And then I was like, I'll read Elizabeth Bowen, we didn't read a lot of Irish women writers in the course. You know, standard, really. Very excited for this one about three girls who grow up together and then reunite in adulthood. So sounds like it could be a fun read. Italy. Every year I somehow manage to find about like 4 books that I want to read for Italy. So this year I have very much just like put on my blinders. I'm not allowed to look at any of them because I am going to read All Our Yesterdays by Natalia Ginzburg, which I bought, I don't know, in 2022. I think just before Eurovisionathon that year, and I planned to read it, and I still haven't. It's big, it's literary, I'm nervous, but I do really want to give this a go. I have heard amazing things about Ginsberg, so I want to try it. It's going to happen this year. I'm not allowed to look at any of the others that I could possibly read. Okay, next is Luxembourg. This is exciting because Luxembourg hasn't participated since the Readathon started, and I couldn't tell you the history. I couldn't tell you when they last participated, but I found a book. I was so excited. I found a book and it was at the library. So this is The Length of String by Alyssa Brent Wiseman, and I think this is a middle grade YA. Don't really know. Looks like it could be fun. We'll give it a shot. Next one, Malta. Also excited for this one because I've never marked off Malta either, but I was in a bookstore again a few weeks ago and I saw Malta, A Childhood Under Siege by Linda Peake, and then I managed to find this one at the library. So I will pick that one up soon. This was from memory quite short, like quite a thin one, and that's exciting. It would be nice to mark off Malta. Now we just have like a few in a row here. Next is Moldova. And for this, I have The Power by Naomi Alderman. I have had this one kind of on my TBR for a really long time. And then, you know, it's one of those ones that's like, I never really pick it up because it's on my list, but I'm not super hyped for it anymore. So it just kind of, you know, I could have picked it up at any time, but I haven't. So when I saw this one was set in Moldova, I think it's a very small section, but I thought it would be a good time to give it a shot and see if I like it and see how we go with it, I guess. Okay, next one, The Netherlands. I couldn't believe when I realized that I had this book that, like, I hadn't connected the fact that I had this book and that it's by a Dutch author. And, yeah. This is The Art of Saving the World by Corinne de Vries, who is Dutch. And this is possibly set in the Netherlands. I think it's probably set in the US. But anyway, it is a YA clone sort of thing, as you can see. I wrote my honours thesis on Corinne de Vries's book, On the Edge of Gone. So very excited to see this one. And I've kind of been putting it off. I don't know, I pre-ordered it. I feel like as soon as I pre-order a book, it means that I probably won't read it for like 2 or 3 years. So we're finally going to get to this one. It is a little bit chunky, but I'm excited to take it off my TBR. I think it'll be a fun, light read. Next is Norway. And I have The Mercies by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. This one's kind of done the rounds around BookTube and the book community in general, I feel like. It's very pretty cover. And I wasn't ever really interested in it, to be honest. Like I was, but I was kind of like, maybe, like if I happen to like see it in a library or something. And then I found this copy secondhand for $1 and I was like, that'll do. So this is going to be my read for Norway and we'll see. I'm nervous. I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about it. But I have it now. Next is Poland, which I've also never marked off because I have always put Trader by Amanda McCrinna on my list. And I am again putting this on my list because I'm going to get through it. I'm going to read this finally. I think this might be one of the ones that I kind of start the readathon with because I just want it off my TBR. I've had it on my TBR so many times. I think I put it on every single one. I just want to read it. I just want to read it and be done with it. So this year, it's happening. Okay, and then I have a few more. So I have Spain, which I have also never marked off because I keep alternating between 2 books. The Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys and Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. So this year I am going with Shadow of the Wind. I have put this one on hold at my library months ago because the reason I kept not getting to this one was because the wait time was 10 to 12 weeks every single time and I didn't plan ahead enough. So this year I did and it's all ready. I just need to remove my suspension and then it should come in. And again, I think this is going to be one that I kind of start the readathon with. I know this is a bit of a longer book, so I think that starting it early will be good and I can mark something off. Next is Sweden, and for this, again, one that I've put on my TBR before is Beartown by Fredrik Backman. And then I realized the other day that it's on KU. So I have downloaded it already. It's on my Kindle. It's ready to go. and I'm excited for this one. I've heard some very good things. I've never read any Bachman before, so I am excited to give it a shot and to see how I feel about it. Next up is Ukraine, and for this one I have Voices from Chernobyl by Svetlana Alexandrich. Is that her name? Svetlana Alexievich. Don't really have anything to say about that one. I don't know. I don't really know anything about Chernobyl. Like, I know the very basics of what it was and some of the kind of after effects of it, but I just don't know anything else. So I thought, let's give that one a shot. And then finally, of course, is the UK. And again, as per usual with Australia, I'll read whatever because I have so many things on the TBR. But again, I have picked out 2 possibilities. First of which is Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell. Even though this is a classic and it would probably be a slower read, it is also only 255 pages, and I've never read anything else by Gaskell other than North and South, so I want to give this a go because I love North and South. So maybe this, or I might reread The Hatmakers by Tamsin Merchant, because I have the sequel and I keep saying I'm going to reread this one and I just keep putting it off. Also, fun fact, I found out that Tamsin Merchant is actually the person who plays Georgiana Darcy in the 2005 Pride and Prejudice movie, which blew my mind and made me more excited to reread this and to continue the series because I think she was a fantastic Georgiana Darcy, even though she had very little screen time. So those are all the solid possibilities. Now I'm going to take a quick tea break and then we're going to go into all of the other ones that I have options for if I somehow manage to find copies of these books. We're going to go through these alphabetically as well, just for ease. Which means first up is Albania. And for this I had Mud Sweeter Than Honey, Voices of Communist Albania. This one, I could find a paperback, but I didn't really want to buy anything. So I'm probably just going to keep this one on the list for next year and maybe buy it over the next few months. Austria was basically the same situation. I had Last House Before the Mountain by Monica Helfer. Could find a paperback, didn't want to buy it next year. Azerbaijan, I found Why Statues Don't Speak by Luca Attali, and then I found that it was out of print, so that was kind of sad. I will probably try and search for this one and see if I can find an old secondhand copy somewhere, again, ahead of next year. Belgium, still haven't marked off. I have Nowhere Boy by Catherine Marsh. I've put this on every TBR and I just do not pick it up. So it's going on the TBR again and eventually I will read it or I will find something else. Cyprus, I have Cyprus The Untold Stories. I don't know who this is by because I found this on Goodreads and then I lost it. I have no idea where it is. So I tried to Google it and nothing came up, like just websites came up. So I will have to search for this again, but maybe it doesn't exist. So we'll see. I might have written the title down wrong. Next is Czech. And for this I have Which Way Is Home by Marie Keeley. I really want to read this one. This is a middle grade and it sounds adorable, but couldn't find a copy. So again, next year. Estonia is next, and this one I have War in the Woods by Mart La. I have no memory of this book whatsoever, but it was interesting enough for me to put it on the list. So one day. Next is Finland. I have Tove Jansson. Life, Art and Words by Bull Weston. This is about the creator of the Moomins. I read one of her books last year, and I think she's a very fascinating character, and I really wanted to read a biography of her. This one is like $8 on Kindle. If I have the time and I really, really want to read it, I will probably buy it. But at this stage, I think I have enough to kind of cover. Next, Georgia. I have Georgian Tales by John Wardrop. Again, this is available on Kindle. It's not too expensive. If I have time and I really want it, I'll do it, but probably not. Latvia. I have Return to Latvia by Marina Zha. This one sounds really interesting. I really would like to read it, but again, couldn't find it. So next year, Lithuania. This one I found Of Gods and Men by Algirdas J. Newman, which is like Lithuanian folk tales and things. This sounds absolutely fantastic. I really, really, really want this book, but the only copy I could find was $65. Sorry, Percy is scratching. Thanks, Pers. So I will save up for next year. Portugal, I found The Golden City by J. Kathleen Cheney. This one is available at the library. I'm not super interested in this one. Like, I'm kind of vaguely interested. So, I don't know. Again, if I have time, I'll pick it up, but it's not very high up on the list. Next is Serbia, and I have S by Slavenka Draculic. I don't know. This is one of those others that I found. This one is a novel, and it sounds interesting. She seems to have mostly written non-fiction other than this one. If I enjoy the book from her that I have for Croatia, I will likely try and buy this for next year. Slovenia, I have Yugoslavia, My Fatherland by Zoran Vojnovic. Complete guess. This one sounded interesting. Again, we'll probably try and find a copy of this for next year. And then finally, we have Switzerland. I had two options and I couldn't find either of them. I had Castle in the Clouds by Kirsten Gier, which is like a contemporary YA set in like a Swiss hotel. And then I also had Romantic Outlaws, which is about Mary Wollstonecraft and Mary Shelley, set in Switzerland, of course, because that is where Mary Shelley came up with Frankenstein. And if you've been around here before, you may know that I am very obsessed with Mary Shelley in particular, though I also love Mary Wollstonecraft. This is by Charlotte Gordon. I realize I didn't say that. It's been on my TBR for so long, and when I thought of it, I was so excited, and then I couldn't find a copy at the libraries, any of the libraries that I have access to, and again, I didn't want to buy anything else. I bought the one book for Iceland, and that was my limit this year. So again, next year I think I will buy this one ahead. But that is everything. Now, I've still got a couple of days. We've got what, like 2 weeks before the readathon starts. So in the time between now and then, I'm gonna do like a little bit of planning. I think I'm gonna go into the readathon with a game plan, which is what I've done in the past, or at least, the first 2 books that I kind of want to start. and we'll see, where we go from there. As per last year, I will be doing 2 reading vlogs, so one for the first 2 weeks, one for the last 2 weeks. And I'm very much looking forward to doing those and talking about all of these books with you and seeing how many I can read. I think last year I read 14, so I'm kind of hoping that I might be able to read 15 this year, just to one-up myself. And also I just think that I have a really interesting bunch of books here, and it would be really nice to explore some of them, give them a read, see how I feel about them, and find some new authors maybe. I know a few of these have, impressive backlists that I could read. So I think, as usual, I will really enjoy the readathon, and I will keep everyone updated on how I go. I'd love to hear if I have marked off any countries for you that you were looking for a book for, or if you're not participating in the readathon, if there are any that sounded interesting to you anyway. And I will see you all when I see you. Bye.